Today, I want to talk about aliens. Always fun. Recently, Joe Rogan had Anna Paulina Luna, a congresswoman who has been at the forefront, essentially, of alien disclosure. She's running a group on it with a few other people. And so Joe Rogan had her on, and I just want to take a look at essentially breaking points, so Krystal and Saagar, taking a look at and giving their opinion on her appearance on Joe Rogan and some of the highlights, and then I'll provide my thoughts and opinions on that. But just kind of interesting because it kind of got the pot stirring, but I think it might be much ado about nothing. So let's hear what they have to say about it, and then I'll provide my feedback as well.
Anna Paulina Luna on the Joe Rogan Experience. Very interesting episode. I actually recommend people go and listening to all of it. But Anna Paulina Luna, one of the congresswomen who has been at the spearhead of a lot of the UFO, UAP inquiries, some of the whistleblowers. She made some interesting claims around that I'm going to return to. But first and foremost, you have a member of the United States Congress at the forefront on the UFO issue, making some absolutely extraordinary claims about things that she has seen. Now, claims are claims, and we need to see evidence, but at the very least, we can take it for what it is. Let's take a listen.
You said that you've seen evidence. Like, what kind of evidence have you seen?
I have seen photos. I have seen...
What have you seen photos of?
So I was in a skiff, and I can't discuss all that was in a skiff, but what I can tell you is based on the photos that I've seen, I'm very confident that there's things out there that have not been created by mankind.
And this is where this is very early on in the episode, and to me, this literally sounds exactly like David Grusch. Any single thing that you try and ask him, and you say, "What have you seen? What have you heard?" Because he's done a bunch of investigations and he's interviewed people and blah 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 blah. I was in a skiff. I can't tell you, but trust me, it exists out there. And just constantly, every single time, it's like you're not telling us anything. Like these are all things that have been out there, in basically known for years and years and decades at this point. Like literally, I could overlay David Grusch and Anna Paulina Luna on top of each other, and it sounds exactly the same. So the fact that people are getting so excited about her being on there and the things that she's saying, it literally just sounds like more of the same to me. This as soon as she brought up, because I watched the whole Joe Rogan episode, as soon as she brought up skiff, I just checked out immediately. I half listened to the rest of it because literally from this part alone, just trust me, take my word as gospel. This is what I'm telling you, what I've seen. You would not believe. Shut up and get out of here. You're not introducing anything new to the conversation. This literally has been out there for like a decade. Give me a break.
It seems crazy that people have access to information that shows that there's something outside of us that is more intelligent, at least more capable than we are, and they hide it from everybody else.
So let's just, sit on that for a little bit, is that I've seen photos that I'm very confident that there are things that are out there that have not been created by mankind. This is allegedly like in a classified setting, and I have been pushing on this. It is so complicated because at the same time, she did claim that some of the whistleblowers who we've spoken about here on this show, how they pretended to have the flu before they were supposed to show up for a briefing. Those people have now come out, at least one of them, Lou Elizondo, and he's spoken about how that's not true. So there even seems to be some intra-fighting within this relating to our previous block of messiness or whatever. And
that's the funny thing about this. If you fall, because I've watched stuff where I'll watch some stuff where it's kind of like Fringe, and there's these Bigfoot expos, and mostly because of Channel 5 and Andrew Callahan, and he goes and interviews these people and just doesn't even make them, allows them to make themselves look insane, which, I suggest you watch one of those at some point in time, because if nothing but for entertainment value. But that's the interesting thing that he's bringing up here, is that always in these groups, there's always intra-fighting and one-upsmanship of like, oh yeah, well you saw Bigfoot? Well, I have Bigfoot living in my basement, and he's interdimensional, and he blah 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 blah, and it just literally, it becomes more and more and more ridiculous. And every single time, my child, I had a baby with a Bigfoot. It literally just always one-upsmanship. It's a never-ending battle. So when there's inner fighting within these groups, that just makes me what that actually makes me do is it makes me want to throw it into the Bigfoot pile. Stuff like that, where it is so out of this world, the things that are claimed, and so preposterous, and it literally makes me want to put at least do I think aliens exist? Yes, 100%. Do I think they could be interdimensional beings? Yes. I have an entire theory on that ties in dark matter and this, that, and the other, and why no one's used a nuclear weapon since we dropped it on Japan, since we dropped the 2 atomic bombs on Japan. And again, do I believe that they are real? Yes, but does it make me want to believe any of these people like Anna Paulina Luna or Lou Elizondo or and any of these people who are interfighting with each other? No, it just makes me think that they're trying to distract from Epstein, and that's why this is all becoming, hey, we're going to bring it up as a topic again, just rehashing the exact same things that we were talking about a decade ago, but now we're going to have a young, attractive representative from the House to come in and talk about it on Joe Rogan. Again, I just roll my eyes at the entire thing.
Not still quite sure exactly what's going on there, but at the end of the day, what Tim Burchett, and a few other members of Congress were pushing for were some of these briefings, photos, and other things that are said to exist. The difficulty on this is we have been hearing this now for quite some time, for years and years, right? I don't know how many times have I said it here on the show, and it's becoming exhausting for people to say that people who have seen classified images of this or that have not yet been able to see actually something tangible. I will say on Luna's record, her attacks on the whistleblowers notwithstanding,
and the point that he's making is exactly what I was just saying, where it's like, as soon as they say skiff, I just roll my eyes and I'm like, all right, like I'm out. I tap out. I can't, because they never actually introduce something that's interesting. And nothing that actually advances, moves the ball down the court. Nothing that's doing that. It's just the same thing over and over and over. And show me more pictures. One picture. Show me one additional picture that is something that I haven't seen yet. Until you can do that, I don't want to hear anything from you. I don't care. You're bringing nothing new into the conversation.
JFK, she's been solid. Don't take it from me. Take it from Jefferson Morley, who we've had here on the show, who I trust absolutely and totally on the JFK issue.
Oh, yeah.
And he said that she very seriously has been working with him and others in order to get these files out. They invited him to testify. He worked, I believe, with her office and it's doing some stuff behind the scenes, which allowed to get declassification or release, and broadly saw that inquiry as serious. So if we take that together with the UFO issue, I'll say there's some implicit trust, at least on the track record. But it's been a long time since that UFO hearing. We're going to need to have another one. But by and large, it's like, just release it at this point.
Yeah.
And maybe it's like Epstein. It's just, it exists. It can't be released. It's hidden. JD has said that he's, quote, working or whatever
Maybe
on
Trump's
the
in the
issue.
UFO files.
Maybe Trump is in the UFO files. Do you want to know the best presidential theory on UFOs?
Sure.
Is that Eisenhower had a summit with the aliens in this is serious. I'm not kidding. Is that he had a summit with the aliens? I believe it was in '56 over how we're going to manage Earth and alien relations.
Okay.
That's a very serious actually topic. Look.
That timeline could align with my conspiracy theory on the reason why I outline it in my kind of a joke video where it's, we the US don't want Iran to have nukes because then they would basically step into the knowledge or gain access to the knowledge of interacting with aliens, and then you basically know the truth of the world and we're trying to suppress. I made a whole video on it. It's kind of tongue-in-cheek, right? Do I 100% believe that's what it is? No. Can the case still be made for it? Yes, and it's kind of funny, right? So yeah, that timeline, right? If you say, yeah, we drop the bombs and then they shut down our ability to launch them, or they saw it maybe bubbling up again, so then they sat down with anyone with nuclear capabilities and basically said, hey, knock it off, here's what actually went down, here's how things are going to be essentially ran, you can have free reign, but you're never allowed to use nukes again, or we'll show up and then we'll take over and we'll basically disallow you from ever being able to use them again. Who knows? I mean, again, that kind of may align, but yeah, I think there's just a lot of interesting things along with that. And then the other thing that I think is interesting that he was talking about before, about, all these people who are working on it and blah, blah, blah. The other thing that could happen, and again, this is just me throwing out another huge conspiracy theory, so stick with me on this one, but recently I was watching a different show and they're basically talking about there is a theory out there where essentially all of us humans are just vessels for souls, for the cultivation of souls. And then the souls are basically harvested from Earth. We go through our life to kind of mature the soul, and then when we pass away, the soul essentially gets put into another vessel. And that's essentially how souls are. Earth is just basically soul harvesting. That's all it is. So the one thing that's kind of interesting to think about is if people actually ended up getting to the bottom of that, like imagine that's actually the truth. I think that would send everyone into just insanity. Like, I think people would legitimately lose their minds if it came out that was true and everyone found it out. Like, I think that would just cause mass insanity. Like, insane. And I don't think a lot of people would handle that well. And so imagine, though, that there's all these people working on it, as Saagar was just saying. But imagine if that's the truth that they came to, and then they're like, yeah, we literally just can't tell people about this. So we'll just make up something else, or we'll continually delay and not really give them any of the information. And, because, yeah, imagine if it was like AI's outside. They created Earth to mature souls to then put inside of AI robots so that they have a soul as well, because it's required for some reason or another. So just imagine, like, that's actually what happened. Like, again, is that something that I could see happening? Yes. How would you ever prove that that's true? Like, okay. So, like, why live any differently than how you are now? But again, if there's all these people looking into it that are high profile, and then we're never getting anything new, well, maybe this is why? I don't know. I'm just saying it's something interesting to think about.
Very serious, actually, Tom. I mean, look, I'd like to see some more evidence, is what I'm saying. But on the UFO issue, very specifically, as a believer in the phenomenon, I will say at least it is encouraging that she said these in a classified hearing, because at the very least, it's a falsifiable claim. What I want, that's why I loved when Dave Grusch went under oath. I'm like, we need more oath. We need more stuff which is falsifiable or not. No more illusions. Like, she makes very specific claims. And specifically in this next clip, she made claims which, again, we can prove are false or not if the documentation is released. Let's take a listen.
Do you think that it's possible that these are U.S. vehicles that are top secret?
I definitely think that there's a level of advanced technology that the U.S. government has. And I think that tech can be housed within the defense contractor realm. And of course, some information is going to be classified. But I can also tell you, and this might sound crazy, but based on our investigations and stuff that we've seen, okay, there is definitely something.
And before she finishes that, to Joe's question to her, I mean, why wouldn't it? At least some portion of it be tech that we have that's not released. If you think about all the insane things that we do to kind of stick our noses in business where it doesn't belong, like the Middle East, like Ukraine, like, why do you think all of these countries don't just flip out at us and start war with us? Because I think they are aware of the fact that the U.S. probably has insane weapons that we've never rolled out because we've never needed to. And that's the thing, is it's like the showing the card. You only, if you're a good poker player, right, and you can bluff someone out of it, out of their hand, you never show them what you had because you don't want them to know if you were bluffing, or even if you win, right, and you had the nuts, as it's called, right, you don't show it because you don't want them to get any knowledge on how you play. So that's the thing, is the U.S. government, or the military, is holding those cards tight to the vest, and they're never going to show it. But I think China and Russia, probably other players as well, are very well aware of the fact that, oh yeah, the U.S. has additional technology as well. When has the last huge breakthrough come through in regards to technology that we've seen on the battlefield? I literally can't think. Stealth technology, maybe, right? That was the last big thing with the stealth bomber. You don't think that in the amount of years from when that was created to now, that there aren't additional things that have been created? Look at the budget. It's $1 trillion now. You don't think that's going somewhere? You don't think that has discovered anything? That amount of money is not being given to these groups and these organizations if there were not results that go hand in hand with it. So yes, and there's a reason why they haven't passed an audit, because they don't want to disclose what they're actually working on. And so, yeah, 100%, some of it is probably ours, but then some of it is not ours as well. So there's no statement that you can make where, oh, well, I think we have some advanced. No, we 100% have way more advanced technology, and it's just not disclosed. You and I have no idea about it.
That I think would rival what we know currently with physics, and a tech that potentially is out there that we don't have the ability to reproduce, because it would basically be like dropping a cell phone right off back during the time of maybe caveman. So like, we just don't have the tech to develop it yet. There's definitely something that
And I think a really good example of that is in Bob Lazar's story, where he's saying that there is this element that they had that essentially allowed the spacecraft, or whatever it was used on, to have anti-gravity properties. And so when he came out with the claim, oh no, that's totally made up, that doesn't exist, that's BS. And then, oh, by the way, the US synthesized it later on. And so, oh wait, now it does exist, but it's not a stable element. Well, okay, I think they may have had a stable version of it, but then, again, they definitely do not want to disclose that to us. So yes, there are certain things that I think happen or exist out there or have been discovered by other civilizations that we may have gotten, right? If you think about some of the spaceships have been described as donations, where it's exactly what she's saying. You just give the cell phone to the cave people, figure it out, right? And until they get to a certain level, they're not going to be able to back engineer it. They're just going to hit it with their clubs, and well, now it's broken. So yes, we probably do have something out there. Yes, it does exist, and it may be indistinguishable for us from magic, right? It looks like magic to us, but to another civilization, oh, it's just run-of-the-mill, that's how we get around, is anti-gravity. So something to think about there.
I can tell you with confidence that exists that we don't know how to explain currently.
So when you say that it operates outside our understanding of physics, what specifically are you saying? Like what happened?
To I guess break it down in simple terms is that I think that some of the tech that exists, that whatever these things have, these energy things have.
Energy things? What do you mean?
Well, they call them interdimensional beings. I think that they can actually operate through the time spaces that we currently have. It's really changing the way that we understand, you know, the origins of life and the spiritual reality that we know.
And that's interesting as well, where the words that she chose were very interesting, where she's talking about energy beings, which, yes, and that is a very prevalent belief that seems to be gaining more and more traction, is that at least some subset of these are interdimensional beings. So they actually coexist with us, but we just can't perceive them. And the best example of that is if you think of, if you're an ant on the ground and then we were to drop a piece of paper on them, they would not understand what's going on at all. It would literally be, you know, what the heck just happened? A giant white sheet just completely smashed me. And there's no record. You have no idea what's going on with the paper. You have no concept of paper. So is it possible, just using that example, is it possible that there's something existing somewhere on the planet coexisting with us that we just don't have the ability to perceive or to understand? Much like an ant walking on the ground, that could easily be the case. And it could be more abstract than that, right? It could be we can't perceive them because they exist on a wave of light that we can't observe. It could be there's an additional dimension, you know, separate. They're bursts of energy, right? Where she's saying here, like, again, with the wording that she's choosing, maybe they live inside of electrical currents, who knows, it could be anything, but it's just very interesting, the wording that she chose there.
When you say interdimensional beings, that they know that these are interdimensional beings, how do they know that?
Based on testimony, would be based on witnesses that have come forward, but what I can tell you is
the witnesses just were told that they were interdimensional?
that they've seen things. And what I can tell you without getting into classified conversations is that there have been incidences that I believe where very credible people have reported that there have been movement outside of time and space.
And again, this is just where I roll my eyes, where it's like, oh, okay. Because it's just so, the way that she's talking about it is so painstaking, where it's like, well, there's people that I've talked to, and so it's secondhand, and there are things that they have seen that, and I can't talk about it because it's classified, and I'm just, give me a break. This is where I can't, and this literally is line for line with David Grusch. This is the exact same things that he says. Well, I think that they're interdimensional, but I can't tell you how I know that, and I didn't see it for myself, and I don't have any proof, but the people that I've talked to have observed them, and I think that they're very credible. Great. Completely useless. You're not telling us anything new. Frustrating to say the least.
That's very vague.
Yeah. So, look.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. Look. Have I seen a portal open? No. Have I seen a spaceship? Personally, no. Have I seen evidence of this? Yes. Have I seen photo documentation of aircraft that I believe were not made by mankind? Yes. Is there historical significance to this? Yes. Is there multiple events that go back?
And again, but if you can't produce any of this, then why am I believing anything that you're saying? Like, you're not producing anything new. It's hard for me to take you seriously.
Back to, I would argue, maybe even before the time of Christ, that have documented this in text? Yes. So do I believe that the government has access to certain technology? Yes, to an extent. And I believe that certain contractors potentially have back engineered this tech. I think that that's what can explain the advancements that we're seeing.
All right. I mean, what do you think, Krystal?
And that was some of the stuff that I was saying. Again, it has been told to us that there are craft that have been left here as donations. And so do I think that we back engineered at least some amount of that technology and other countries know that we have it, and that's why no one wants to escalate anything with us, even though we seem to put our nose and involve ourselves all around the globe and whatever. Yes, 100%. That's why I think that is because we can do basically whatever we want and no one tries to stand up to us as the U.S. And why would that be the case? Well, because there's technology that they're aware that we have that no one else can touch. And they don't want us to basically break that out on them or anyone else. That's what makes sense to me, at least.
I know it sounds crazy. At this point, we just got to see the evidence. That's part of it.
My assumption, until I see any sort of evidence, is that this is bullshit and she's telling Rogan what she wants to hear. I think but that has to be the default assumption.
Yeah,
if there's no evidence that's offered,
that's totally fair.
You these are wild, extraordinary claims that are being made. So you better bring something other than you heard from a witness theoretically, and there might be something, but you can't really say anything.
I am getting sick of
And the other thing too that makes me kind of question it is it seems like everything is going in the direction of they're interdimensional beings now. And while I do think that is completely possible, I think there are multiple different things out there, right? I think interdimensional beings is probably one, but then I think there are probably typical aliens that come from elsewhere in the universe, and they travel and they can get here. And I think that there are multiple different variations of these things. And so just to say that anyone who's just attributing that all of the aliens are interdimensional and they're not mentioning aliens that have come from other places, or if you're just saying interdimensional, that's almost a red flag to me at this point, where it's like, yeah, you're just obstructing, you're not providing anything helpful, you're not going to provide anything new, and you're either just regurgitating stuff that has been told to you, or you're not really in the know, you don't really know anything. And yeah, so again, that's what my belief is on the topic. And one of the things that I think has been becoming more in vogue when it comes to the topic and conversation of aliens and UFOs, that I just seems like the people who are saying that are the ones that are the least helpful.
I have seen, former Undersecretary of Defense coming at me like, I've seen that there's an extraordinary video. I've heard this now for probably 5-6 years, right? About this video that allegedly exists of a UFO passing in between two fighter aircraft, and the two pilots absolutely freak out at the level of speed, very similar to the original videos.
You can tell he's sick of it.
Yeah, and I think that's the default at this point, because we have heard so many promises, so much slow lowering from the bureaucracy, from the Pentagon. We've seen so many claims like this. Luna, by the way, here is not testifying under oath, which Grusch, to his credit, actually did. And what's important also here about the contextualization of what she's saying is I've seen claims from people who said they've experienced it. That fits actually with the original Grusch testimony before Congress, where he was talking, because remember, his goal was to compile all of the information in the reports, and that's eventually what led to his whistleblower report. We at just this point have got to see some release or some sort of evidence. And it's also disappointing, I would say.
And that's the point that I was making, is literally her appearance on Rogan is pretty much word for word exactly what Grusch said. So to see her saying, again, there's nothing new, I'm not interested. It's an interesting thing to think about, right? It is a topic that I am very interested in, but her coming out and appearing on there, again, I just throw my hands up and what are we doing here? What are we doing here? There's nothing new. It's literally the same thing that David Grusch said. Okay, so what at this point?
Say for her to imply that they were not credible, but then also at this point taking some of their words seriously. And so at this point, we really are, I think it's kind of make or break, where it either has to come out or a lot of the trust is just going to be killed forever.
Yeah.
Because we've seen so much of this winking and nodding. It's like Epstein. It's a similar thing. It's the exact same thing. They come out, they say they're going to do it, and then they basically show a complete and a total cover-up. The cover-up is enough for people to think that there is a there there. And of course, I do believe that there is certainly a there there. But I am getting sick of a lot of these people. At this point, it seems like she's using it to try and get, people like us are talking about it.
Yeah.
But release
wants
and do
attention.
something like she did with JFK, or I just don't want to hear about it anymore from you. I would be better off not hearing it than to, get your hopes up and to get crushed like over and over again.
Yeah. And, Trump made it quite explicit.
Yeah, he made a
consistent
big deal
promises.
about this. So did RFK, remember, when he was on our
Yes,
show?
he did.
And I asked him about it
He sure
multiple
did.
times,
Yeah.
and he's claimed to have had a briefing about it, but hasn't said anything.
Yeah, no, that's a great point too.
Yeah.
And you remember Trump specifically talking about the drones and how he's going to reveal
Yes,
everything
I
when he
know.
gets in. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay. And then he comes out and he's just like, it's nothing to worry about. Like, I can tell you, I know what it is.
Yep.
And it's nothing you should worry about. Oh, okay. This is the transparency. Thanks.
And to their points on that, that's where it goes back to, and it might not be the exact thing that I outlined, where we're all vessels for souls and whatever, nothing really matters all that much. It might not be that extreme, but it might be something like that, where the truth, they think, rightly or not, if the truth was to actually get out, well then everyone would lose their minds and they don't care, not suddenly nothing matters anymore. No one really cares. It just basically societal collapse, because everyone's just like, what is even the point anymore? And so exactly what they're saying, where there's multiple people who have said, we're going to get to the bottom of it and we're going to release it. It's one of two things. It's either that, or they can't actually get to the bottom of it. It's so deeply walled off that they don't let them know anything about it. I kind of lean on the first, and the other thing too to think about that first model, where it's just so insane that you think people would lose their minds, is that if they were to ever say it, they'd probably hear it and they go, this is stupid. These people are insane. They have no idea what they're talking about. I can't come out and say that, because then all my credibility is going to be shot. And so it's like a self-reinforcing thing, where you hear about it and it's so crazy sounding that you just go, yeah, I can't even talk about that. Again, it could be either or, but yeah, are we actually going to find out? Eventually, maybe one day, but I'm not going to hold my breath about it.
This is great. Thanks. So
Yeah.
I guess I just sort of roll my eyes at this stuff until I get something more concrete at this
I think
point.
that's fair. I think it's a normal reaction now at this point. Like I said, I would hope that this is a precursor to actually something in the future, like she's done with JFK. But otherwise, ma'am, we're sick of hearing just claims. We actually want to see evidence and some disclosure.
All right, so that was essentially what I wanted to cover. I found it interesting, right? It's been making some news, but much ado about nothing, in my opinion, because once again, it's just exactly what has been said here. It's more of the same. There are no new revelations that came out about it. It was kind of disappointing, in my opinion, which is sad, because it is a topic that I think is actually very interesting, and you can put a lot of thought into it, and it's just an interesting topic in general, right? There's a lot of unknowns out there. It's fun to speculate about. What does this mean for us, for life, for everything? Are we alone in the universe? That's one of the biggest questions that a lot of people have on their mind. So just wanted to cover it, though, because I actually had a friend text me about it and was like, oh, did you see it? Which is funny, because he can't stand the David Grusch, but he was messaging me about this, and I literally, my response to him was, it's literally the same thing. Didn't you say you didn't like Grusch? She's literally the female version of that, and here we are. But anyway, just something that I wanted to cover, because aliens, I think, are pretty cool. And if you like the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in the content that I put out here, give me a subscription below. It does really help my channel grow. And if you've made it this far, thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.